So welcome back to BCFC Royal Blue. Now, we've known for a few weeks now that Birmingham City will be playing in the Championship next season. And that really, for me, I'm sure maybe for yourselves, has made the playoffs in League One and in the Championship even more interesting to see which team will be joining us from League One. And actually the opposite in the Championship, which teams will be staying down. I think the playoffs have been really exciting. And myself and Matt in this podcast are going to discuss the League One and the Championship playoffs in terms of the ones that have already happened, the semi-finals, and also the finals, which will take place later this month. And we've been talking about the playoffs quite a lot, haven't we, Matt, in terms of when the games have been happening. There's been some great atmospheres. And, really interesting to see some of the results that have come out of those.
I think the two games for me which were the highlights was the Coventry Sunderland 2 games and the Leyton Orient and Stockport.
Yeah.
They were two 4 games of football which were really entertaining. Because obviously, in the end, if we're going to be honest, Sheffield United kind of ran away with that one, didn't they? And the Wycombe Charlton one bored me to death, if I'm going to be brutally honest, over those 2 legs. So if we're going to be the Sunderland and Coventry one was really entertaining. Leyton Orient, Stockport was really entertaining. But as I say, it's good to see what teams are coming up. Well, possibly coming up, what teams are staying down. And as I say, just getting ready for Championship football. Because I remember now, whenever the first game of the football season happens, I always watch it on Sky. And this season was the first time I chose Mansfield versus Barnsley over the Championship teams.
Me too.
It's nice to look now and actually get ready for Championship football. But what I'd say, Dad, is if you look at our predictions from the pre-video, you can tell we're a bit more accustomed to League One because we got a lot more accurate that side than we did the Championship. So I think we're actually we got used to League One football a little bit.
Well, you got the League One spot on in terms of the... We'll discuss that first. Let's talk about the League One semi-finals and what we think about the final. And then we'll go on to the Championship, all right?
Yeah.
So we know that the League One final is now going to be between Leyton Orient and Charlton.
Before we get into this, Dad, fair play to Leyton Orient.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not me disregarding Charlton, but we knew Charlton would be in and around the playoffs possibly. But Leyton Orient, they were in the hovering around the relegation zones, for quite some time, and they've just made a surge. I like Richie Wellens. I like the way they play football. Fair play to Leyton Orient.
Yeah, and I thought that the semi-final that's the best one I think I've watched. I enjoyed that really very much. Leyton Orient against Stockport.
Both games,
the reverse fixture. Now Leyton Orient were very, very lucky with a goal because it was offside. I think it was who was the defender? Beckles.
Yeah.
Headed it, but obviously the linesman and the assistant referee and the referee must have thought that he hadn't made contact with it, and Kalman must have been about 4 or 5 yards offside.
Easy.
Yeah.
The only way that goal goes ahead is if they don't see the nick on the head.
That's what I think has happened.
But how did they not see the nick on the head? Because the ball takes a different trajectory. I mean, that really, to me...
Yeah. I think Stockport were really upset about that.
And rightly so.
Yeah,
Imagine that, Dad. Playoff semi-final. Imagine that was Blues.
Yeah.
We'd be talking about it now, fuming. I totally get it. And this is why, we've said it on the podcast a few times, Dad, I cannot wait to get out of League One for the refereeing standards. How do they not pick up on that?
I agree. But then I don't want to take that away from Leyton Orient's performance either. Because, I mean, they can't do anything about it. If the officials don't see it, that's the officials' problem, not theirs. And they played some good football, Leyton Orient. They pressed. But I think everybody was expecting Stockport to go through over the 2 legs. Not everybody, a lot of people. Yes, you did.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I went to Leyton Orient.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? You said Leyton Orient. I think I said Stockport.
Penalties as well.
Yeah. Okay, you got it right. But
I don't get predictions right very often, so I want to take this one.
But they come into the game with a lot of momentum, Leyton Orient. So obviously we know that they finished 6th, and that in their league they won their last 6 games in a row to get into the playoffs. And we see that time and time again, where a team through momentum have got into the playoffs, and then they go and beat the team in 3rd place. Yeah. So I think that they deserve to be where they are, and I think this is going to be a fantastic game. In fact, they've not a good omen for them. They've lost both times to Charlton in the league.
Have they?
They lost 2-1 at home and 1-0 at the Valley. So,
but if you look at our season, Dad, we beat Peterborough home and away in the league, but we lost in the Virtue Cup Trophy final. I'm sure that means absolutely nothing, but what my point is, anything can happen on the day.
Yeah, there's some good players, isn't there, in the Orient team as well. I like Jamie Donnelly. He's on loan from Tottenham. I really like Aguiar as well. He's really, really fast and pay. I think he's a right winger, or he's up front. Charlie Cameron we know about up front as well. Abdullah Galbraith, our namesake scored the goal, didn't he? O'Neill in the second leg. On to Charlton as well, and fair play to them as well. Like you said, Matt, the fixtures against Wycombe, they weren't the most exciting to watch. Look, Charlton fans will not give a hoot.
Oh, of course they won't.
They're at Wembley. They deserve to be there because they
won, yeah.
They won.
They beat them.
And they got through.
And I mean this, I guess, in a complimentary way. I don't know whether the Charlton fans will appreciate it, but Charlton did what Charlton do very well. Do you know what I mean? I've been watching Charlton a little bit this season, and they played the Charlton game, and that's not a negative.
Yeah.
But they played that game very well. You know, they frustrated. I think they were the better team actually at Wycombe slightly. I mean, they were both really.
Wycombe to me were really disappointing, and I think I was texting you because we were watching this at home on the telly when we were texting, weren't we?
Yeah.
And I said to you, Wycombe can't even string two passes together. I mean, Charlton were much better, to be fair, but there was no, and both teams seemed to be happy with the ball in the air as well, and it was a really not attractive game to watch. But I think they was all working to a game plan. One player I really liked for Charlton, I think he's got a fantastic future, is Thierry Small.
Yeah,
and
Jones.
He's good as well. But Thierry Small really stood out for me. He's fast, he's pacey, he's skillful. He substituted him after about 70 minutes. There must be an injury or protecting him, because he was the one spark that was. This was before they scored as well. That was going to create a goal. Obviously, they got Matty Godden.
He ain't missing from there if you give him that chance.
He's a proper goal scorer. Doherty I like as well. Connor Coventry, but also as well they didn't have Luke Berry in that team, and I think he's a real key cog for them. And I think he may be back for Wembley. So you can't deny that Charlton have got some good players, and fair play to Nathan Jones. You know, as much as he's a bit divisive at times, he's got them fired up and set up well, hasn't he? You know, Ramsey at the back, Jones, like you mentioned, he's a good centre half, isn't he?
And what I like that, fair enough. I know Nathan Jones has his critics. He's a bit of a pantomime villain. I know we all get that, but the passion he showed,
fair play to him.
You can't knock that. You know, he was roaring the crowd up. He went on his knees when they won, and if you love your football club or you love football, that's always good to see, isn't it? You know, and then obviously the Charlton fans all swarm the pitch and things like that. But good scenes to see in terms of Nathan Jones, the emotion, the players, and all these sorts of things. So, fair play to Leyton Orient and Charlton. I'm sure that's going to make a very entertaining final. I mean, again, Dad, this isn't a prediction video, but just to get a little insight, what are your thoughts on the final? What do you think is going to happen at Wembley?
I really think that, based upon, if I base my opinion now just solely on the two semi-finals that have taken place, I think this is going to be a tight game, because Charlton won't want to give much away, but Leyton Orient have the ability to hurt them. They've got pace. As have Charlton actually at the other end. It depends on how Nathan Jones sets up his Charlton team, but I've got to think this will be a tight one. I'm actually going to go for a 2-1 Leyton Orient win.
Okay, that is very interesting, because that's the complete reverse of me.
Are you going to Charlton?
I'm going to go Charlton 2-1. I just think they know how to win a game, don't they, Charlton? They know how to grind it down. And I think Leyton Orient, fair enough, I actually am a big fan of Leyton Orient this season. I think they're a good team, but sometimes can be a little bit uncomposed, I think. And I think in a big game at Wembley, I don't know, just got a feeling. I mean, I backed Leyton Orient to beat Stockport on penalties, so I'm not against Leyton Orient. I like them, but I just got a feeling Nathan Jones, Charlton, the way they're set up, I think they could win this.
Yeah, again, I think it's an interesting game for both sets of teams. Obviously, Charlton will sell out their end. They've got a good support, good fans actually. Charlton fans.
They're a big club.
I mean, to be fair, so are Leyton Orient. I mean, they've got a good set of fans as well. But Charlton are a big club. They have got a Premiership history as well. So
Alan Kirbishley was at the game last night, Dad. I saw the camera panning him a couple of times. Obviously, when I think of Charlton, I think of the Valley back in the Premier League days. Alan Kirbishley is their manager. Some good times. I've been there a few times in the Premier League days. I was there when Teberley almost scored the world's best own goal.
Yeah, I just don't like the away in there. I mean, not that the home fans will know it, but we've obviously it's the one stand that hasn't been developed, and you can tell. And there's only one bar either end as well, isn't there? So
deliberate tactic to make you uncomfortable, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe. But fair play to both teams for getting through. I'm really looking forward to watching that as a final. And, like you said in the preview for the semi-finals, we got no dog in the fight, so it didn't really bother us who goes through. But fair play to both teams.
And also that it'd be good to see Leyton Orient or Charlton in the Championship for different reasons. But Leyton Orient would be that hero story of being at the relegation zone, making their way up, and Charlton I think are a Championship club anyway in terms of they are a decent sized club. So Anyway, good luck to both teams, but it'll be an interesting final.
Yeah, fair enough. So obviously we both got opposing views on who we think will go through. So obviously one of us are going to be right, and it's usually him. So if you're a Charlton fan, just have confidence that Matt's normally right. So the Championship player final is, I mean, they're all big, but this one, to go into the Premier League financially, it's huge, isn't it? I don't even know what the value of the game is anymore. And when we got promoted way back in 2000 and whenever, it was 40 million then. I think it's
it'd be a lot.
So whatever it is. So it's Sheffield United versus Sunderland, and if you look at the league table, you'd think, well, that seems fair because Sheffield United finished third, Sunderland finished fourth. So let's just talk about the semi-finals first. So let's talk about the Sunderland semi-final against Coventry first.
Two good games, weren't they, Dad? I thought Coventry were unlucky, just as an objective statement over the course of the two legs. I thought, especially at the Stadium of Light, they really went at them, didn't they? They were creating chances and putting the ball in the box. They just couldn't score. They just didn't have that killer instinct in that game. But fair play to Sunderland. I think they managed both games well, and they showed their class, I think, actually, to win those games, to be fair. But heartbreak to lose at the death on both games, you know.
It's great if you win them like that, but if you lose them like that, it's the biggest...
Imagine if you're a Sunderland fan that was at the CBS and they score that last minute from the mistake from Van Erwijk, and then you're in the Stadium of Light when you score it. That's just what's that? A 2-week adrenaline high? You know, that would have been absolutely insane.
It's almost as if it was written for Sunderland to get through, wasn't it? Really, I agree with you, Matt, completely. Sunderland surprised me in terms of the way they played. You know, I think they changed shape for the semi-finals. They played two up front, didn't they? They were very, very compact as well, so they closed down very, very well because Coventry were good football inside. They
are, yeah.
But they closed them right down and tried to stop them playing. Coventry, I mean, they had some good chances, Coventry.
Yeah.
And you can clearly see that, you know, I know they're disappointed that they haven't gone up, but they're going to be a big force in the Championship next season because they'll add to that squad as well in the summer.
They're a club on the right. I think Sunderland and Coventry, Dad, are the two Championship clubs. Regardless of who goes up this season, they're solid on the rise Championship teams, aren't they? You know, they've invested well. Sunderland have a different model to Coventry. Like, they've invested in their youth players a lot more, and that's now they're starting to see the fruits of that labour. And Coventry have just done really good business with like Hamer and Jokeres, got 40 million for the pair, only investing 2. They've made good money. They've invested and reinvested well. They've got a good manager. I think Frank Lampard's a good manager.
Yeah.
At the Championship level, he knows what he's doing. Two clubs definitely on the rise, in my opinion. So even though they lost, and if whatever happens in the final, if Sunderland didn't win, let's just say, they both can hold their heads up high and know they're going to be a force next season. Yeah,
they were good games to watch. You said, didn't you, that they were really, really good games. From a neutral, they were good to watch. And, you know, I like the front two of Sunderland, Mayenda and Isidore. Very, very fast and pacey, aren't they? But they've got some good players in there. I mean, Dan Neil, obviously Joe Bellingham, and speculated that he'll be leaving. Luke O'Nien as well. He's a really sort of experienced player. And Dan Ballard got the goal, didn't he?
Yeah.
So, but then, you know, look
from a corner in the last minute, Coventry will be kicking themselves with that.
I know, but Coventry, you know, you look at them and you look through their team and you can see why they're doing so well because of where they are. You know, obviously in the playoffs, but they got some really, really good footballers, haven't they?
Their midfield is crazy.
Yeah, I mean they've got you know, I like Sakamoto. Yeah. He was a pest, wasn't he?
Although we said it in another video, they can't take a throw in.
Yeah. I mean, they'll be sort of really annoyed about that.
Lampard will be fuming with that. You know, you can't get a basic throw in, right?
No,
that was really funny. It tickled me because it made me laugh. He did it once. He did it again in the second half. I was howling at the telly. It really made me laugh. But yeah, good player. I like Sakamoto. And centre mid, Ben Sheaf and Matt Grimes.
Yeah, Ben Sheaf. I mean, Matt Grimes.
What centre mid that is?
Yeah. I mean, what a signing he's Matt Grimes as well. Yeah, I mean, he literally is. He's like the Kante, isn't he? The engine room. He knits play together. I think he's a great signing.
We can get a ball in the box as well, though. Matt Grimes, he's got a good delivery on him, and Ben Sheaf is I'm a big fan of Ben Sheaf. You know, they have a good team. And then when you look at their attacking line, they've got like Hadji Wright, Radoni, Sakamoto.
Radoni as well. What a great sign. I mean, if people wonder why Huddersfield struggled, I mean, they sold like Radoni, they sold Helik. Yeah. You know, and they're two players that are the difference between having a really successful season and 100%. Not. And I think Coventry will be just so thankful that they bought Radoni because he's been scoring goals, hasn't he?
He's really stepped up, I think. Because, you know, sometimes you take a gamble on a player, Dad, and sometimes they step up to the mark and do what Radoni's done, or sometimes they kind of be a little bit underwhelming. Radoni's stepped up to the mark, hasn't he? He's a good player. He's their number 10. I think that's someone that we need, you know, like that engine in the creative part of the field.
Yeah.
And you can tell. I like his tenacity. He gets stuck in as well, Radoni. He's a good player. player.
I know Coventry fans will be disappointed, but I mean, and it'll take them a while because we know what it feels like to be disappointed. We got relegated last season, and that would almost feel like that to them. Not a relegation, but the disappointment levels would be quite similar. But if I was a Coventry fan, I'd be encouraged by what the future holds for them because they clearly are a really good team.
They are.
What about the next one? So Sheffield United against Bristol City.
Oh, this ended up being an underwhelming affair, didn't it? Just in the context of 3-0, 3-0, 6-0 over 2 legs, But again, similar to what we said, Dad, Bristol City have to hold their head up high this season. And I know the playoffs didn't go according to plan or how they thought it was going to go. But no one expected, in my opinion, Bristol City to get into the playoffs in the first place. Everyone wrote them off in terms of no one expected them to get relegated. But we all know the joke. Bristol City and Preston are the two teams that always finish in that mid-table pretty consistently.
Yeah.
So the fact they pushed on this season is good. And I like Bristol City. I think they play some really good football at times. The playoff 2 legs just didn't work out for them, did they? And then we got to talk about the penalty, Dad, because the commentators said it was a bad decision. Obviously Bristol City fans were saying it was a bad decision. I thought that was one of the most clear-cut red cards and penalties I've seen in a while.
He actually had his arms all over and pulled him over, and it was a goal-scoring chance. I mean, it was...
How can you defend it or say that it wasn't? I don't understand the perspective.
If you do get a little bit blinkered as a fan, don't you? So we were hard done, but you weren't. That was definitely a penalty and definitely a sending off.
1,000,000%.
And of course, when they go down to 10 men as well against a team like Sheffield United, who literally were fighting for the automatics, there was like a 20-odd point gap between them and Bristol City, and
you could see it.
It showed.
Yeah, you could see it.
And when they went 1-0 down, and of course they lost the first leg 3-0. I mean, there's no coming back from that.
No,
and
not to go to Bramall Lane as well, especially.
I think it's crucial though. The summer's crucial for Bristol City because if they want to now make another playoff push, they do clearly need to get some more reinforcements in that team. It depends on how much the owners are prepared to spend. They could sell 1 or 2 players, I don't know, but but Sheffield United fully deserved to win that. I mean, of course, Sheffield United, they've got Callum O'Hare, Gustavo Hamer,
the old Coventry lot.
It is, yeah, and I wonder that they may be a little bit relieved that they're not playing Coventry. In the final, but Vinny Souza as well. He was good in their midfield as well. Obviously they got Hansa Chowdhury, who was I don't know if he's bought him or he's on loan from Leicester, but he's their right back. He's the one with the big mop of hair. Good players. Pack as well. Is it Pack? Is it or Peck that they've got in the midfield? And they got their Tom Cannon up front, and Kiefer Moore started the game in the second leg. So Harrison Burrows as well.
Good player.
Everywhere you look on the pitch for Sheffield United, there's quality, but then they're not going to surprise you given that they were Premier League last season and that they've been very close to automatic promotion this season.
I think unless they have a bit more courage, Sheffield United, and spend a bit more to hopefully bridge the gap. I know the gap's massive now. They have the problem of just being stuck in the yo-yo, don't they?
Yeah.
So they do very well in the Championship and they can never step up to the Premier League. They come back down, they go back up, they come back down. They're stuck in that yo-yo now, Sheffield United. So again, and by the way, I like it when clubs break the system or when they do stuff they're not supposed to. So I hope they go up, make a crack of it, and actually become a Premier League team. Because
it's a big step, like you said.
The gap now is getting so big. What is it for the past 3 seasons or 2 seasons? The 3 teams that have gone up have come straight back down.
Again,
That highlights a problem. If that happens again this year, has to be recognised. The money isn't filtering down the pyramid.
Oh yeah, there's wider issues. Clearly there is. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, and that's just, unfortunately, people could say that's just life. But in football, it's becoming so obvious now that there's a massive step between the Championship and the Premier League. I fear for whoever wins this are going to struggle in the Premier League, in my opinion, because I don't think any of them are going to massively invest. Sunderland could if they sell, because they could get big money for some of their players. So they might have the money to invest, but it's going to be tough for either of them. So it comes us onto the prediction then, Matt, about, and you can go first this time.
I'm going to be really brutal here, Dad. I can't see anything but a Sheffield United comfortable win. Although I'll go for 2-0, I'll keep it quite moderate. I think 2-0 won't tell the full story. I think it'll be quite a dominant Sheffield United performance, in my opinion. I think when you look at the playoff games, when you look at the 2 teams over the season, especially the way Sunderland finished, Sunderland fans won't like this. I think Sheffield United are quite far ahead of them. Okay,
I'm going to go for 1-1 after 90 minutes. And then I think as well Sheffield United will win this. I'm going to go for 3-1 overall. So it'll be one. I think it'll be very tight for the 90 minutes.
Okay.
Because as I say, Sunderland surprised me. I think they changed shape slightly for the semi-finals. I've not really seen them play like that. Although even though we obviously were a League One team, I've been watching a lot of Championship football and watched Sunderland loads of times. And
when it became apparent we were going to get promoted, Dad, I started paying a lot more attention to the Championship. I'm going to start watching a bit more football.
Yeah, so I'd love to see Sunderland get into the Premier League, but I think for me, I think Sheffield United, I think they're slightly better. That's why I think it'd be close for 90 minutes, and then I think it'd be Sheffield United.
I think although we have Premier League and Championship, that's 2 divisions. I almost think we have 3 divisions in some way. We have the established Premier League teams. We have the Premier League, we have the Championship, and we have this middle league like Burnley, Sheffield United, Leeds, like the teams that I guess Norwich were in there a couple of years ago. The Yo-Yos. It's almost like a league within a league, and they can't quite. They're too good for the Championship, but they're not quite good enough for the Premier League, and they're kind of getting stuck in that middle ground. And Sheffield United are quite literally the classic team that are stuck in that. And Burnley are the 2 now for me, which are the 2 big ones. But let's see what happens, Dad. I can not see much further past the Sheffield United win, but let's see what happens. And good luck to both teams. And if Sunderland win, fair play to them. I'd like to see Sunderland go up as well. But I think Sheffield United.
I totally agree with you. One final point for me is, last season Southampton won the playoff final, beating Leeds, and you get the euphoria of doing that, and then they've been absolutely destroyed this season. So they're going to come down now with probably a lot of trepidation, because knowing that the Championship is going to be very strong next year. So what I'd say to both sets of supporters: enjoy your day at Wembley. And whoever wins, congratulations. But it is going to be a tough
step up. Look at Ipswich, look at Leicester.
Yeah.
Every team that's going up is coming down.
But you're not going to say no to a season in the Premier League.
And also, you get parachute payments then when you come down. But what a lot of Ipswich fans have said, Dad, is the journey is a lot more exciting than the destination.
Yeah.
So they enjoyed smashing League One. They enjoyed smashing the Championship. And obviously, no one wants to go to the Premier League and get destroyed every week. And I don't think that's been the case for Ipswich. They're not getting destroyed every week, but they've been losing most weeks.
But as you said, they've got the parachute payments now, so they can actually invest that and build again and have another go, and then each time get better and better. I think that's the way you do it, isn't it? You improve and you improve and you improve. That's what the successful teams do. But good luck to both teams, Sheffield United and Sunderland. Fantastic clubs, well supported. I'm sure Wembley will be completely sold out, and it'll be a really good occasion. But unfortunately, only one team can win. That's what we think. Clearly, one of these teams will be playing us in the Championship next season, and which is why we preview it on our channel. But I've enjoyed the playoffs, and would love to get your opinion of what you think. So let us know in the comments below whether you are a Birmingham City supporter who watches our podcast on a regular basis, and you want to give your opinions on who would you prefer to stay in the Championship. If you're a Sheffield United or a Sunderland fan, I'd love to have your comments below about what you think about, you think the result will be and how you might do if you do get promoted. Leave comments below and let us know your thoughts. If you did like this podcast, as always, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't checked us out on our social media channels already, then pop along to our X page and our Instagram page. And if you like to watch or listen to your podcast on Spotify, you'll find us on there as well. And you'll see the handles appearing for all these channels on the screen right now. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already and you'd like to, then press that big red subscribe button. And if you want notifications every time we put a new podcast out, then there's a little bell icon next to the subscribe button. So if you push that, the second we put the podcast out, you'll get a little notification ping up on your phone, your pad, or your device. So that's it for this podcast. Hope you've enjoyed it. And myself and Matt will see you on the next one, all about Birmingham City.